Hey everybody, this is Paul Gilbert. You're watching the Young Guitar channel, and I'm going to teach you a lesson about some picking and other things. We're going to start off tuning our ears up to E minor. All right, couldn't resist that whammy bar. Anyway, this is the phrase. I'm going to count it off so you know what the timing is. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I know you're used to me doing picking things. There's plenty of that out there. You can find it. But this is going to teach you something new today. So hold on and check it out. 16th notes. All right, so put your pinky on the E note right there. Is that the only finger? Put the other ones too. That way, you don't want to put all that responsibility just on one pinky. Back it up. Put all 4 fingers, one giant finger, but the pinky's getting the note. And we're going to start off with a picking emergency. That means there's no way to do this other than picking. So if you want 16th notes on one note, that's the only way to get it done. You can't do hammer-ons or pull-offs there. We might do some later if the note changes. But here it doesn't change, it just stays the same. You have to pick it. All right, we're going to talk about details of that later, but let's keep going through the notes. We've got da 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 da. We're there, the note changes. That's F sharp and G. It's on this with your first finger on the G string. So now that G note's first one that's going to be a hammer on. So we pick, 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 pick. And then do a hammer on. So we do have to do a downstroke on that F sharp. That's all picked. And then give yourself a break. It sounds good too, doing that little hammer. Now I want you to notice when I change from one string to the next, you see my shoulder? It moved like that. And that helped me get from one string to the next with the pick. And with one other thing that's so important, you won't believe it. It moved the mute. This is the mute. This is like the brakes. You know, when you drive, you want to bring the gas pedal, but you want to bring the brakes too. You don't want to leave those at home and go like, well, you just get the brakes later. When you go traveling where you want to bring the brakes with you so you can stop and change the tone or other things. And that allows me to mute those bottom strings. You know, a lot of players these days, have the fingers like this and do that sort of thing. Your mutes, you might move the pick, but anyway, it's full of problems. So for this lick, try this. Don't pull these up. Your mute, your anchors, to here on the top of the guitar and the side of your hand. I should pull this up so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. See how I'm doing that? Right there. Those are muted. Okay, that's the beginning. All right, I went into detail because you need it. After that, the same kind of thing, but we're going to now jump all the way to the second string. That notes are A and B, and that's a big jump. And there, I had to move my arm even more. I only have to hit the A note and then I'm going to hammer on the B. I want you to notice by listening how the low note is a muted texture because I have my hand right next to the bridge saddle. And then when I hit the high note, that's not muted. Oh, the noise is muted, but the note that I want, that opens up. So there's a contrast between muted notes and notes that open up, on the high ones. That's, in general, that's what I tend to do, is mute the lower ones, because they're so big and resonant, you kind of need to keep those under control. And then the higher notes, you let those sing out. I really want you to notice how my shoulder is moving to make that happen. All right, now there's more, isn't there? That's right, I do this. Now what is that? It's a little triplet. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. So there's little segments of 3. Still 16th notes, but it's easy to think of it as 3-note sections. There's the first one. E. Now we've already kind of done these notes, but the time, the division is a little different. Now this, because the rhythm is different, we end up hitting the F sharp on an upstroke this time. So down, up, and still a hammer. So you only have to pick 2 notes, down, up, and a hammer. But still use your shoulder to get there. And then the same thing. You played these notes before. See how you're kind of pulling your arm? And then we go all the way up to these are new. We haven't done these yet. D and E on the high string. So we're going all the way to the top. And each time the low note's a downstroke and the higher note's up, followed by a hammer on. So down, up, hammer, down, up, hammer, down, up, hammer. And each time your shoulder is making that happen. All right, and after that, we're just going to go back down the same way. So, and here's a new note. I'm going to go. So that's an A, B. Now I want a low B. I'm going to use my pinky to get there. And that's going to be, again, the low note's always a downstroke. So and then we go back to. Now let me figure out if I pick that. Now there's 3 notes here. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to pick the first 2. Because I like to give it a little teeth. And then I need a rest at the end so I can get back to the beginning and not be too worn out. So. And that gives me enough time to get back to my downstroke to start that out. All right, that's a lot of material. Let's do it slow. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, as you go, you can vary if it's muted. If it's not muted, if you do some pick harmonics to make them scream out a little bit, let's try some of that. We'll speed up a little bit too. 2, 1, 2. Oh, that's starting to feel good. Try some different keys. If there's some big stretches in there. If that's too hard to stretch, just take it up the neck a bit and try maybe G minor. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get it right. Frets a little closer together, or if you want to challenge, you're down A minor. 1, 2, 3, 4. Kind of nice. All right, now you may be noticing that a lot of times I hold my pick with 2 fingers. I call it the emu, so it looks like a bird. I find that it gives me just a firmer grip on the pick. I have a little more control over the angle of it for tones, and it's really easy to go from there to there for like that. and back. You know, so there's different things about it. Good for pick scratches too. Oh. So one of the things is just, I'm going to give real, this part 2, so take a breath. Quick part 2 is being able to mute after you play a note. No left hand, we're muting with the right hand. And it's just kind of whatever is whatever skin or pick you have there, you just press down. That's a really good exercise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Real staccato, short notes. And that'll come in handy when you're doing slide. No, I didn't, no, to contrast, imagine if you that sounds all right too. That's very legato. The notes are ringing into each other. But also try, where you're using all the stuff to press in to stop the note. That's really helpful for playing slide because the left hand can't help muting. All right, I could talk all day about this stuff. But anyway, thanks everybody at Young Guitar for letting me talk on your channel. Come check out my online school at Artist Works, and I've got hundreds of licks, picking things. Some of them are those sort of things if you want them. But a lot of it's just like different tones and different rhythms and things that that's not fast is one thing, but there's a lot more to explore than that, and that's nice. All right, so thank you so much. This is Paul Gilbert. Rock and roll!